Today on Hip Hop Movie Club, we're going to discuss the 2024 comedy drama part biographical film, Kneecap. And Kneecap takes us through a bit of a wild ride with unlikely duo becomes hip hop stars. And in the process, work to save the native language of Irish up in the Northern Ireland region. It's a brave film with a lot of character and action, reminding me a little bit of Dope when it's kind of goes off the rails and into these tangents with drugs and chaos. But what are you guys' overall thoughts about Kneecap?
Yeah. This movie was it was interesting. I don't know what to make of it. I was watching like, wow, what am I watching? But it was different. I found some parts of it extremely funny, but yeah.
I mean, I liked it wasn't your typical just, hip hop film just about them coming up, because there's a message behind it. And I think there was a lot of like self-deprecating humor in here. They're kind of making fun of themselves and the culture a bit. It was enjoyable. It got really good reviews out there, and I didn't know it was to that level. But yeah, some 5 stars review, really high rated on Rotten Tomatoes, etc.
I think it was really fun.
Yeah.
Part biopic, part comedy, part drama. It really worked. You really got a sense for what their life was like. I did seen interviews where a lot of it was sort of composited together and it's not like completely accurate, but it's mostly accurate. Yeah, I thought it was a fun watch.
The villains were like the radical Republicans against drugs, or RAAD. It was funny that was kind of like a Keystone Cops type thing. They were chasing them around.
It's like, how do you pronounce that?
Yeah.
Some of the scenes in this movie really had me cracking up. Like the one scene in the beginning when they were young and they were sitting outside and the cops were chasing the drug dealer and threw the weed in their lap. And they were like, oh, what do we do with this? They got the whole congregation behind. It's like, oh, then, said the next week the congregation doubled.
Mm-hmm. DJ Próvai was one of my favorite characters, and he wore like the ski mask because he didn't want to be associated with Kneecap. I mean, they developed a bad reputation. They were giving out drugs at their concerts, and the lyrics were inappropriate. But ironically, I guess this is how a lot of the younger generation was learning the language or keeping the language going. So, and that was a subplot. DJ Próvai's girlfriend was kind of leading that movement, keep the language going. It was a lot of awkward moments between those two. But I think these guys had a lot of talent. I mean, I like the lyrics and the beats. And the beats, it's funny because the 808 machine at school is what really made their songs come to life. Yep. I mean, that was after the studio burned down, and they're like, what are we going to do now? And they break into the school. And I thought that was a really, one of my favorite scenes too, is when DJ Próvai, they were interrogating him at the school and he's sitting there and they're like, do you admit to breaking into the school? And he's like, admitted, doing the drugs, admitted. And like mooning the crowd with the anti-British sentiment. He's like, admitted. He was fired. Fired on the spot there. I mean, I thought the subplot of, fighting for the Irish language for Northern Ireland was really good. I think it carried a lot of the weight of the movie on top of the ridiculous, drug binges and sex scenes and all this stuff. And it was like, they kind of like tied it all together, especially with DJ Próvai and his girlfriend. And
yeah, that part provided a good emotional core for the rest of the chaos, like you said. A lot of hip hop is this sort of principled expression. And that was cool to see, despite all the other chaos around it, like the drug use and the hijinks. Some of it was fun too, but it was good to have this kind of story and have hip hop be a vehicle for it.
Yeah, it's just kind of, like you say, it just kind of ties into just the roots of hip hop in general. It's always been a voice of the people, going against the grain, giving a voice to the quote unquote, the underdogs, the undervalued. In this case, pushing the language forward, which was actually kind of cool. That was cool to see.
Yeah, that's a good point, Boog. I think they mentioned that. It's like, this gives you the voice. And yeah, right. It just takes the lead from the hip hop as we saw it rise in the US, etc. One quote that I really liked when was DJ Próvai had to tell his girlfriend that he was fired, and she was like, you're going to stick around with these guys, Kneecap. And he kind of intimated that he would. I loved her quote when she said, "No one is anything until they are. You are." Like, it's kind of like, you found your calling. Go for it. Follow that path. I like that one a lot towards the end of the film.
I like DJ Próvai. I can relate to him because he was like stuck between like two worlds. And we all have to code switch between some of our lives, but him being a like awesome DJ and producer at night and like trying to be like a normal school teacher during the day and trying not to get fired from both.
Yeah,
that was fun.
I enjoyed his character also.
Absolutely. I was just a fan of the ski mask.
I've seen interviews that it's still the same ski mask after all these years. It's not like a backup or anything. Like, it's the same one from it's at the beginning.
Oh, man.
Man, that's got to be brewing some funk up in there.
Seriously.
But I guess it still works.
That whole Great Hip Hop Hoax that we did a few episodes back, I compare this, like those guys, like I said, those were like punchable characters. I'm like, these guys were like a total 180. Like these were true, real, authentic guys telling their story. Obviously, they fabricated a few things for the film, but like you said, Dinah, right? This was their upbringing. The political context of it, and these guys were likable. Like, these are guys you'd want to hang out with. Obviously, they overindulged quite a bit, but they seem to be likable guys, a little bit of a family element. They were like brothers, and with DJ Próvai, it all worked really well. So, Boogie, for Kneecap, would you bring this funky flick back or leave it in the vault?
I'm so glad that I was wrong about this one, because I was like, why am I watching this? But I got through it. I'm like, bring this funky flick back.
Dinah, right? For Kneecap, would you bring this funky flick back or leave it in the vault?
Definitely bring this funky flick back.
Yeah, I'll make it unanimous. I will bring this funky flick back for all the reasons we mentioned. Super creative. And these guys do have skill.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hip Hop Movie Club, the show for serious hip hop fans who want to deepen their cultural knowledge. I'm Dino Wright, filmmaker, designer, longtime hip hop fan, and I recommend Kneecap's interview on Bullseye with Jesse Thorn. I'll put a link in the description.
Nice. I'm JB, 80s and 90s nostalgia junkie, longtime hip hop fan. And I was always a fan of House of Pain's Fine Malt Lyrics logo with the shamrock. And we got to see House of Pain perform at Rider University's Spring Fling.
Yeah. Yep, that was the last one.
They shut it down. Yeah.
And I'm Boogie, a DJ, longtime hip hop fan. I'm actually DJing a gig this Saturday on the 4th of July. I get to spin some go-go music. Nice. Never spun go-go, ever. And I get to spin go-go.
All right.
Amazing. Remember, don't hate, extricate.
Get it out. Get it out.
That's right.
Nice.